A very good morning to you. You're watching Sunrise.
Coming up, we'll have all your morning papers with Michelle Dewberry and Kevin O'Sullivan.
But we start this morning with warnings of a double threat to national security.
First, from convicted terrorists who have refused to engage in de-radicalisation programmes. And second, those plotting attacks in cyberspace. And we'll have more on that in a moment.
But we begin with a Sky News investigation, which has learned that nearly three-quarters of terrorists convicted since 9/11 are now back on the streets. Since the 2000s... with us to take a look through your morning newspapers, we have the entrepreneur Michelle Dewberry and TV critic Kevin O'Sullivan. Michelle, you were making some last-minute scribbles. Time's up, pen down.
Sorry,
it's time for the final exam.
I wasn't even writing anything that interesting either.
It's an interesting
shopping
doodle.
List. Shopping list.
Interesting doodle and shopping list. And Michelle, you've gone for the front page of the Daily Mail, and this is all about tax cheats and how the government has nailed just one of them in 7 years.
Yeah, it's quite interesting because the thing with tax is for us ordinary people, you know, there seems no let-up. If you put your self-assessment in late, you'll get fined. You know, they really are clamping down on people like £10,000 or less that people are owing to the tax man. They're all over.
Well, that's the subject of our Sky debate coming up at 9:30 this morning. Do nurses actually need teachers or just childminders?
Yeah, we'd be interested in hearing your views. We've heard some already. I've had one tweet from Mel Stratton. She says she's been an outstanding childminder for 18 years. Please don't give the impression children are disadvantaged in a childminding setting. Far from it. And that's the point, isn't it? I think a lot of childminders are incredibly qualified.
Yeah, so much
often through
experience.
their experience. Yeah,
exactly. They don't need a certificate, as it were. OK, let us know what you think. News@sky.com or tweet us at Sky Sarah Jane, at Jonathan Samuels. That's coming up at 9:30. We'll take a look at today's front pages for you now. Start every time in terms of what's bad for you. Not that I'd light it up.
Yeah, it's a really good question, and I think to answer it, I think the first thing to say is that, you know, one cigarette won't kill you, and neither will 1 teaspoon of sugar. But if you look at it in perspective now globally, poor diet contributes to more disease and death than physical inactivity, smoking and alcohol combined. But one of the major issues, if we reflect on how we're going to overcome this crisis that we have with it.
Good morning. You're watching Sunrise with Sarah Jane, me and Jonathan Samuels. We start today with warnings of a double threat to national security.
First, from convicted terrorists who have refused to engage in de-radicalisation programmes. And second, those plotting attacks in cyberspace. More on that in a moment.
But we begin with a Sky News investigation, which has learned that nearly three-quarters of terrorists convicted since 9/11 are now back on our streets. Our Home Affairs correspondent Mark White has this report.
Campaigners will respond this morning to the decision not to open an official inquiry into the clash between police and striking miners at Orgreave in 1984. Home Secretary Amber...
Now, you might remember this internet sensation. It earned the person in this video a winner of... They won an award at Pride of Britain Awards last night, is what I'm trying to say. Simon McDermott filmed his dad, Ted, who was diagnosed with Alzheimer's 3 years ago, and they were singing along to some of his favourite hits from the 70s whilst they drove around Yorkshire. You must remember these videos.
They
went viral, didn't they? And so far, they've raised over £130,000 for the Alzheimer's Society.
Yes.
I've got you.